Dear students, welcome to Brilliant Minds e-learning school. This presentation is for grade 10. Unit 9. Good education. In great schools, happy, healthy, high-achieving children enjoy their school days. They make lifelong friendships and also secure lifetime memories. They leave with qualifications that open doors of opportunities. That means they are ready and able to make the world a better place. As you get older, you develop a theory of getting a good education. Getting a good one depends on the person himself. Your parents also play a part in preparing you to receive a good education. From the first day of school, parents want their children to do well. They encourage their child to do homework, study, and help them when needed. Parents want the best for their children and will do anything to help them. Some people think that getting a good education depends on the school you attend. I do not agree with this statement. Just because someone sends their child to a private school doesn't make their education better than a child that has attended public one. I think of a good education as whatever you make out of it. It all depends on whether or not you want to sit there and take in what the teacher is teaching. Having good teachers that know what they are doing is also important. If you have a teacher that you cannot follow, then what is the point of trying to learn? Getting help when needed can also help better your education. The key thing in having a good education is understanding. Let's talk about the grammar lesson in this unit, which is past simple and past perfect tenses in both active. Let's start with the first tense, past simple tense. As you know that our time is divided into three main parts: past, present, and future. The past simple is everything happened to us and completely ended. So this tense expresses an action which happened in the past and completely finished. For example, I can say my grandfather died. Action happened and ended. Or I met my friends. Can you determine the verbs? Yes, died, and met. From these verbs, can you say the form? Yes, the verb that we can add d, ed, or we have some irregular cases like go, went, see, saw, cut, and cut. Do you know anything about the negative meaning? Using didn't followed by infinitive form. For example, I study French daily as soon as I return from school. If I asked you to change this sentence into past simple tense, what should you do? Yes, it will be: I studied French yesterday as soon as I returned from school. Study, turn it to be studied. Return, returned. This sentence, can you change it into negative one? Yes, I didn't study French yesterday as soon as I didn't return from school. Didn't plus infinitive form. The past perfect tense. The past perfect expresses the oldest action which happened in the past, which means we had many actions, all of them happened and ended in the past, but the first one is the past perfect. We use this tense to talk about the oldest action happened in the past. How can we know the order of the actions? We have two ways. The first one, by using some links, some keywords like first, then, second, after that, before, and so on. And the second way, by the meaning of the sentence. For example, first I trained in the club, then I went home. So the first action, that I trained, and the second one, that I went home. In the following one, we didn't have any link. As the example is, I took a picture, I uploaded it on the internet. What do you think the first action should be? That I took a picture to be able to upload it. The first or the oldest action, as we said, will be the past perfect tense. Can you remember the form of this tense? Yes, had, followed by the past participle of the verb. Past participle like go, gone. Write, written, and so on. We have some words which show the order of the actions. The first two words are after and as soon as. After and as soon as, both of them followed by the first action. And we said the first action in the past is the past perfect. Had plus past participle of the verb. And the second action in past simple, that we can add d, ed, or we have some irregular cases. Let's have an example that we had before. First I trained in the club, then I went home. If I asked you to use after, can you apply this rule? Determine which action happened first and which one happened next. The first action will be in the past perfect. It will be after I had trained in the club, I went home. Then what about the second one? I took a picture, I uploaded it on the internet. As soon as. Think of it. Supers. As soon as I had taken a picture, I uploaded it on the internet. Before and by the time. They are the opposite of the previous ones. Before and by the time followed by the second action, which comes, as we said, in past simple tense. Then action number one, which is in the past perfect. First, I watched the movie twice. I told my friends about. Use before. We said before followed by the second action, which is yes, that I told my friends about the movie. Apply the rule. It will be before I told my friends about the movie, I had watched it twice. Past perfect, had plus past participle of the verb. Another one. The teacher explained the lesson, then we answered the questions. By the time. Try to think. Yes, by the time we answered the questions, the teacher had explained the lesson. Other words like tell and until. This is a special case, as before tell and until comes the second action in negative case, and we said the second action in the past simple, and the negative of the past simple, as we said, didn't follow by infinitive. Then the first action in past perfect. Let's have an example. The rain stopped, and then we went out. Use until. Remember to determine the actions. Which one happened first? What next? The first action surely that the rain must stop to go out. So it will be action number 2, we went out. The answer will be, we didn't go out until the rain had stopped. Another one. The teacher explained the lesson. Then we answered the questions. Use tell. Yes, we didn't answer the questions till the teacher had explained the lesson. All the previous words may have gerund or verb followed by ing, but only in one case. If we didn't have a subject. Like what? Look at this example. After I had watched the movie, I told my friends about. What about if we removed subject I? We said the main verb will change to be gerund. It will be after watching. After watching a movie, I told my parents about. Rewrite the following sentences using the given words. I sold the old car. I bought a new one. John finished the email. He sent it. I arrived at the airport. The plane took off, so I missed it. You have a minute to finish. Think carefully. We said after followed by action 1, then action 2. Action 1 in past perfect. Action 2 in past simple. So, I sold the car, then I bought a new one. Have you finished? Let's check the answers. After I had sold the old car, I bought a new one. John didn't send the email until he had finished it. Before I arrived at the airport, the plane had taken off. That was the active cases. Let's start with the passive voice. First of all, I have some sentences I want to ask you some questions about. The first one, John watched the match and his team won. The maid cleaned the rooms and washed the dishes. The lessons were corrected and mistakes were checked. The crime was committed and the police was investigating. Let me ask you a question. Can you determine the subject or the doer in each sentence? For example, the first one. John watched the match and his team won. Who watched the match? Yes, John. The maid cleaned the rooms and washed the dishes. Who did this? Yes, the maid. The lessons were corrected and mistakes were checked. Who did this action? It wasn't found here. The fourth sentence, the crime was committed and the police was investigating. Who committed the crime? We don't know. So, any sentence, this is called active sentence. Active sentences when you can find and know the subject. But if the subject was unknown, this is clearly can be called passive sentence. So the difference that the subject was known to be active sentence. If the subject wasn't known, this is passive. Why do we use passive voice? We have many cases. The first one, we use it when the subject is already known for us, or when the action is more important than the subject. How do we change the active sentences into passive ones? We must determine three parts. Pick up three parts. Subject, the doer, verb, the action itself, and surely the object. Then we are going to start with the object at the beginning of our sentence. We are going to change the verb into passive voice according to the tense. And by the end, we are going to use the word by followed by the subject. To make it easier, subject, verb, and object. We said we are going to start with the object at the beginning. Then we are going to change the verb according to the tense. And by the end, we are going to use by followed by the subject. For example, John watched a movie. Subject, verb, and object. The first part we are going to use is the object, which is yes, a movie. And we said by the end we are going to use the subject before it the word by. The problem will be with the verb, because we have many verbs and many tenses. In this case, it will be a movie was watched by John. Let's check the following. We said we had two tenses today, past simple and past perfect. And we said that the form of the past simple is, yes, the verb that can be added to D, ed, or we have some irregular cases. If you found the verb in this way, directly you are going to change it to be was or were followed by the past participle. What about the past perfect tense? We said the form is had followed by past participle of the verb. In this case, the passive voice will be had been followed by the past participle. Some examples. The teacher explained the lessons used by. In another sentence, Jane had watched the movie. Try to find an answer. Subject, verb, and object. We are going to start with our object to be the lessons. Explained in which tense? Yes, past simple. Apply the rule to have the lessons were explained by the teacher. What about the next one? Yes, a movie had been watched by John. We read the following sentences using the words in brackets. He ate many sandwiches. She had sent an email. It will be many sandwiches were eaten by him. Sandwiches is plural. She had sent an email. An email had been sent by her. Here are some links for online exercises to check your understanding. Thank you for listening. Until the following time, stay safe at home.